Hi everyone, welcome back to Sally's Backyard. I'm Sally. If you're new, welcome, and if you've been with me for a little while, thanks for coming back. It's been a little while again, but it's been a very quiet summer for me. It's been relatively uneventful. So I'm recording this on the front porch today, so you may hear an occasional car go by. I hope that's not too distracting. But I wanted to show you some things that I finished and work in progress, and something that I'm probably going to start today. So let's get into it. If you've been with me for a little while, I've been working on a sweater for my granddaughter, and I finished it. I put some progress pictures on Instagram a while ago, but I didn't put the finished pictures up. So I want to show you that. If you remember, I was working on the French macaroon sweater for my granddaughter, and that's a pattern by the Noble Thread. It's free on Ravelry. And here is the finished sweater. Yeah, so I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's super cute. I figured out the button and the split for the button because I was having trouble with that, and when I went back to the pattern it just clicked and everything worked out fine. I made this with Stylecraft Special DK yarn, and it's in the Parma Violet colorway, and I made the size 2 to 3. She's about 18 months, so but she's tall, so I think this will fit her fine. It's real squishy and warm, so it'll be nice for fall. They live up near Chicago, so you can always use a sweater when you live in Chicago, right? I'm really happy with it. I think it turned out really cute. And so that's the macaroon sweater. And then when I finished that, I started a crochet sweater for her, and this is called the Jayda cardigan, and it's by Ferguson. It's a paid pattern, and this pattern ranges from infant all the way up to adult. So I think in the future I'm going to make one of these for myself, but this is the one I made for my granddaughter. This little crocheted cardigan. I used Gypsy Soul Fibers yarn in the colorway Monet, and I just think this turned out so cute. I love it. It's so soft. This will be a great little cardigan for any time of year, and I think it'll fit her just perfectly. So that's the Jayda cardigan that I finished, and this only took me about a week. I crochet much faster than I knit. So yeah, so that's finished, and this is a fingering weight yarn, and I want to make one for myself, and I'm looking at yarns now. I just haven't decided what I want to make it with yet. So those are my 2 finished objects. So if you remember, I think it was my last episode or maybe 2 episodes ago, I showed my finished moonbow cardie by Mama in a Stitch, and that was a free pattern, a knitting pattern on Ravelry. And she has since come out with a new pattern, and it is called My Big Comfy Ribbed Cardie. And I'm going to start making that, I think, today. So I've already purchased my yarn. It's the same yarn that I used before. It's the Lion Brand Hue Me, and this is the color Love Song. I just think that's so pretty. And I'll put a picture of the cardigan here in a second so you can see what it looks like. But this is Hue Me. It's a bulky yarn. You use a size 15 needle, so it works up relatively quickly. So I'm going to start this today. So that's what I've been working on, and that's what I'm going to be working on here in the future. I've really been focusing on just working on one project at a time. I just seem to get too distracted with too many projects. And I'm able to finish things more quickly that way. And yeah, it's just more fun for me. So I'm back to monogamous knitting or crocheting, depending on what I'm working on. So yeah. Ago, I was cutting some lemons. I was making tea, and I decided, you know, I wonder if these seeds would grow if I put them in some dirt. So I looked up online, you know, a few tips and tricks, and let me show you what I've got so far. They're coming up. There's 4 plants here, and then I just noticed there's the 5th one, and I planted a 6th one somewhere in here, so I don't know if that one's going to come up, but this is about a month's worth of growth. So we'll see what happens. I may transplant a couple of these and put them in the house over the winter, and maybe I'll get a little lemon tree plant for the house. So basically all I did was clean the seeds off, dried them, and then stuck them in some dirt, and they grew. So who knew? Give it a try. It is quite humid today in Ohio. We had a very wet start to our summer this year, and my tomatoes have not been doing as well as I had hoped. I've gotten a few off of the patio tomato and maybe about a handful off of the cherry tomatoes, but I'm hoping that maybe with this warmer weather, hotter weather, they'll perk up a little bit, so we'll see. But I just wanted to give you a little garden report. So this is my poor little patio tomato, and I did notice this morning that there are a few more buds coming on, so hopefully that will bloom. But yeah, the plant just doesn't look all that great. But my cosmos are blooming and my glads are blooming, so I'm really happy about that. And my nasturtium have just gone crazy this year. They're blooming like crazy. And my zinnias they always do well. Those are kind of foolproof. And there's my sage plant, and I've got some sunflowers blooming. These are just little guys, but I love sunflowers. It's my favorite flower, so I try to grow some variety every year if I can. And this planter has just worked out so well. I think I've talked the hubby into making me another one for next year, so that'll be nice. Another one of my pots with just some marigolds and zinnias that I planted. And my little carrot experiment, I'm not sure. They're growing, we'll see. And my herbs, I've already taken one harvest from these. They were a little bit bigger before I did that. And here's my cherry tomato. So usually by now, this would be taking over this whole corner of the patio, but it is blooming, and it does have some green tomatoes on it. So there's some down there, you can see. And I planted this little pot of peas and it's kind of growing up amongst the tomatoes. I don't know if it's going to produce anything or not. It was kind of an experiment because I planted them so late, but we'll see, you never know. And then here is my basil and my chives, and the dill is done. It didn't really last very long this year, but it never really does. I don't think it really likes the heat too much. And then my lavender, and then over here, more flowers, more nasturtiums, glads, cosmos. Yeah, so I had already harvested my beets and I put a picture of that on Instagram, and I ate those the other night. There weren't very many, just enough for one serving for me. My husband doesn't eat them, so I don't grow very many, just enough to have some fresh beets. And of course the oregano, it's in full bloom and there are bees all over it, and that's part of the reason why we left it this year. These last 2 beds, we had 2 more that we took out, but the bees just love it, and I just didn't have the heart to take it all out for that reason. And I'll pick it and dry a lot of it too, but yeah, it's just so pretty when it blooms. And I don't know if you can see over there is Riley. Hi Riley. I forgot to show you my lettuce, which is still growing, and I still come out and pick what I want, and it's, you know, it's doing pretty well, so I'm happy about that. I'm going to wrap up this episode. Just want to let you know, if you want to find me, I am on Instagram as @Sally'sBackyard, and you can find me on Ravelry as crochetster, and I will put links to those in the description box below. Thanks for joining me this week. I hope you all are having a great summer, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.